Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is proposing to raise the voting age to 25. He wrote on Twitter, "Young people no longer value a country that they simply inherit. People value something more if they have a stake in creating. That's why I'm proposing a constitutional amendment that requires 18-year-olds to pass a civics test or meet a national service requirement." Jessica, what do you make of this proposal?
It doesn't make any sense to me, Amber. I hate it. I think it's the worst. I think we need to lower the voting age. I think you can vote at the age of 16. I think this idea that it doesn't make sense. You want to vote in something you have a stake in creating, not something you inherit. You are creating it if you're voting at a younger age. The only problem with this logic when it comes to age, if you don't want people voting in a nation they have no stake in creating, you would have to exclude people who are older, who are going to die before they see the ramifications of what they vote to affect. So I'm not a fan of this. I do think it's an effort because the Republican Party is not very popular among the youth, that instead of attracting the youth with a policy platform, they're instead saying, oh, well, we'll just take them out of the voting pool. I mean, youth voter participation at its highest in Michigan is 37%. At its lowest in Tennessee, it's 13%. So if you want kids to vote for you, give the kids a reason to vote for you. Don't exclude them.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. I don't agree with lowering the voting age, but I think our country has a problem with having all of these different standards for what adulthood is and when it starts, right? Because we're allowed to join the military at 18. We can smoke cigarettes. You can't drink until you're 21. There's all this science that says your brain's not fully developed until you're 25. And it's like, can we just pick one and all get on the same page with when someone is a legal adult? There's all these proposals. One just got struck down by a Virginia court to limit, handgun sales to people 21 and older. Some other guns as well. I think they're trying to expand that to rifles and long firearms. But again, like, we have all these different ages for when we're supposed to be grown up, and I think that confuses young people. I know that I definitely struggled between the ages of 15 and probably 26 or 27. Like, am I an adult yet? Because society keeps giving me all of these mixed messages.
Yeah, it's true. I was voting before my brain was fully developed. I did go and vote at the age of 18 for many Republicans down the ballot, having no idea what I was voting for. I vote differently now. Does that mean I shouldn't have had a say? I shouldn't have voted? I don't know. I don't think raising the age to 25 makes sense. I think the kids need a say. We're represented by so many people who are so terribly old, who will never live in the country that they are creating with the policies they're passing, members of Congress. And a colleague of mine, Mark Blythe, would always say, if you don't like what Congress is doing, just wait for them to die. But there are so many issues where we don't have the time to wait for them to die when we look at what Dianne Feinstein's doing. So Ramaswamy's taking this from a completely different angle. And I don't think it's going to be popular among the youth to say, we don't think you should have a say when you currently have a say. What is this going to do to the base of voters in the Republican Party that is from the age of 18 to 25? It's not the majority of their base, but he's alienating voters by saying something like this.
I actually have two follow-up questions for you that are kind of two separate issues, but hopefully you can take both of them. So we also have Nikki Haley, who's running for president, who has tried to propose this age limit on how old politicians can be. I'm a little more amenable to that, I think. And then also Vivek wants 18-year-olds to be doing a civics test or passing some kind of, I guess, American literacy test. Maybe you can take both of those separately, because I'm really curious on your take on them.
Yeah, I think an after X age, you have to take a cognitive test is fine. Just an age cap, I would not be supportive of. There are many people who are perfectly cognizant well beyond others, right? And I think it's a bit ageist to just put a cap, because everyone's brain deteriorates at a different pace, to be quite honest. And so a cognitive test, I think, would be appropriate there. But then your other question, can you repeat it?
Yeah, on this part of Vivek's proposal where he says that 18-year-olds should basically have to pass a civics test before they can vote.
Test. Yeah, for that one, the level of education you get, depending on what neighborhood you live in, is going to impact your ability to vote in that case. And we already see extremely different education qualities across different neighborhoods where there are different income levels. It affects, your property tax, which affects the quality of the schools. And so now we're going to have swaths of people who are regular working class people who are now not allowed to participate in the political process simply because of the household that they grow up in. I don't think that that's something that we should ever consider in the United States of America. I don't think we should force kids to study for a civics test on top of all of the work that they already have to do if they're not getting good civics education in their public school. Now they're going to be excluded from voting. I think that's absurd.
I do think it's pretty anti-working class, and the Republican Party is trying to refashion itself as the party of the working class to say that the higher educated you are, the more say you should have in voting or in the future of the country, right? Because we've seen that some of the most highly educated people in our society are literally some of the dumbest and come up with the most harebrained schemes because they live in this like weird idealistic world with no sense of how things actually affect real people. They have no sense of pragmatism. It's all about these pie in the sky, academic, intellectualized concepts of how the world is supposed to work and not how it actually does.
Yeah, the root problem here, which I think maybe Ramaswamy is what inspired this for him, is we have a base of voters in the United States that isn't fully aware of how our government works or what's happening in politics or what's happening with the economy or foreign policy or what have you. That is a problem. The solution to that is not exclude the people who don't have access to education. The solution to that would be, let's invest in good civics education. Let's invest in perhaps teaching economics in K through 12. Let's invest in having courses on just what is going on in American politics and get kids at an early age reading the news so that they're familiar with all of this well before they get to the age of 18. And I think there's a reason Ramaswamy did not propose that. I don't think he actually wants that. I think a lot of these candidates are not particularly populist. They might be in rhetoric, but a policy like this is not something that is populist.
I'm a big fan of refashioning our education system to focus more on the issues that actually affect daily lives rather than getting so into the weeds of certain academic concepts that frankly leave your brain as soon as you graduate and are never actually functional in your everyday life. And what's also interesting about Vivek's proposal is that it does harken back to some of the founding fathers' intentions of who was allowed to vote. The idea then was that you had to be a property owner, you had to be a white male, et cetera. And it was a more exclusionary policy and a more exclusionary form of a democratic republic. I think that wraps us up for today, though, Jessica. This has been super fun. Great to get to host with you for the first time.
It's been good. It's been a blue-collar duo this Friday.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.